Hi, I'm Nan Simonson, and you're joining me today with my group that we call PowerPoints, Points of Interest as it relates to lifestyle as medicine. And this segment, the title of this segment is Are You Feeling Stuck Anywhere? And the preemptive question here is in what areas of your life do you feel that you may be stuck? What we do with the PowerPoints group is we talk about a subject and then we as a group in the background, I have a Zoom group going, and then we look at ways to personalize it as individuals. But I'll ask you, I'm asking the group, I'm asking you, in what ways of your life or what areas of your life do you feel stuck? And I told them a situation with me and people were sharing some of their situations. How does it affect other areas of your life? In other words, does it matter? Sometimes we accept, I don't think stuckedness is a word, but we accept situations in our life that we think could be better, but we just aren't in a phase where we feel like doing anything about it. And yet, if it's affecting other areas in your life, you can give it a little bit more attention, especially if it's something that is that you could be on top of, which would affect your enjoyment, your pleasure in life, your stress levels, things that really do matter. Um, so once you map out sources of the stuck feeling and acknowledge it, and once you highlight why it's important to you to change it, you can decide what you can do with that. Evaluate, for example, current habits, which are hindering you and which are beneficial. Quite often, the things that we do repetitively that keep us stuck are based on habitual behavior that we hold on to because it's more comfortable than changing. If it's something that is really bothering you, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but I was stuck. I was stuck with a habit. It was a psychological deficit, but it was definitely a habit, and that was a binging behavior, a eating disorder for more than 50 years. And the reason I call it a habit is that I was able to break it once I saw it that way within a couple of months. From the time I was 14 to the time I was, what was I at that point, 67, 66? This owned me, and I was able to break it in a 3-month period of time by treating it like a habit that I was going to change, but it wasn't quite that simple. And I'll just, in case this is the first time you've heard about that, there were 2 things that made a difference. One was that I read a book, Brain Over Binge, and the understanding is, and apply this, leave my story out of it if you want, but apply this to what I'm saying and see if it resonates with you. Quite often, now we have a limbic brain. Some people call it the mammalian brain, the lizard brain, the smaller brain. It's our evolutionary brain, and then our brain grew greater, and we got the prefrontal cortex where we make decisions, weigh out pros and cons, and judge wisdom of our action. The mammalian brain, the lower brain, doesn't do any of that. It works purely on, I'll use the word instinct, purely on habitual behavior and survival. And some of what we do that is a habit is construed by our lower brain as survival because it maintains the status quo. That lower brain also is in charge of our everyday bodily functions like heartbeat, like um, uh, digestion, like breathing. So these are basic life or death modalities, but those habits become ingrained. And when we start getting uncomfortable trying to break habits, sometimes that mammalian brain will say to us, just do it. Now, I went through 50 years of thinking that when my brain said, Nan, it's time to binge, you're upset, you're happy, you're sad, this has gone wrong, or you're incredibly anxious and don't know what to do with it. Or you've already eaten too much, go ahead and just keep eating. All of those things, I would have this message, go binge, and I would do it as if that was something I had to do. And then I realized after reading Brain Over Binge by Katherine Hansen, no, I don't. That is simply a message I can ignore, an urge I can ignore from the lower brain, just trying to keep me happy, just trying to maintain the status quo. So when I'm talking about habits, I'm talking about what you understand as a habit, but I'm talking about some things that are much, much deeper, and where that, I'll call it survival instinct, that can keep you stuck for decades, because at one time, perhaps, that was a survival technique. If I go way, way back when this whole thing started, there were some things that maybe that served its purpose in, and then far, far, far outgrew its purpose. So back to that sentence, evaluate your current habits, which are hindering you and which are beneficial. An important question is, are you willing to make a change? You've gotta wanna. You can look at where you are and understand, if you change just a few things, that it could change your entire life. But you've got to be willing to take that on. So decide what you want to be or what you want to achieve and who you want to be. That's such an important question here. Who you want to be. I'm the person who does da 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 da, exercises, eats whole food, plant-based, doesn't binge, deals with emotions, can feel sad, hold on to that, and then move through it. There's so much that we can suffer through when we are stuck, and so much light that can come at the end of the tunnel if we start, I'll use the word crawling through it, because you're going to hear me say some of these things take a long time. So again, decide what you want to achieve, who you want to be, and create a list of action steps that you can move through and move forward with. A list of action steps. Do you need outside help? Evaluate that. Your healthcare provider, a dietitian, a therapist, a coach. In any case, learn what you may need to know in order to enhance your progress. It's important that you understand, when you take even a little bit of movement, the smallest possible action, it can make a difference and help you, or because it will help you see a ripple effect, and these can spread and lead to bigger steps without leaving us feeling overwhelmed. The littlest step you can continue to follow, and as if this were a tunnel, and you start seeing a greater and greater source, larger and larger source of light. Think of that metaphorically. Consider your personality. You might be adventurous or you might be cautious. Some will want to take a big audacious move and just jump forward. Some may need very small changes because that works better for you and your temperament. Figure out what makes you happy and how you can have more of that. So, a couple of things to make this work. Set some clear goals. You know what SMART goals are? They are specific, S, measurable, M, achievable, A, relevant, R, and time-bound, SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Say to yourself, what little thing, if I want to start really small, can I do today? When will I do it? Will it make a difference? Is that relevant? Is it achievable? Yeah, it's something I can manage. And can I measure that progress even in the most superficial way? Evaluate your current habits. We talked about that. Professional guidance. Stay educated. Learn about whatever it is that will help you move forward in a logical way. In other words, if you're trying to change your eating habits, nutrition, what about exercise? What about wellness? Understanding the why behind certain recommendations can help you make informed decisions. Mix up your routine. If boredom or plateauing is an issue, try new types of changes that can tweak where you are and still ignite motivation because you see progress. Incorporate, and boy, I can't think of anything I've told you in any of these PowerPoints presentations that didn't include this. Incorporate mindfulness for mental health. Incorporate practices like meditation, yoga, or journaling, or breath work to improve your mental health and your physical response to stress. It's crucial for overall well-being. Seek out community support. Join a group, a class, an online community. Be around others who share your goals, and that can provide you with encouragement and new ideas. Again, track what you can. There are apps that help us track our food and our movement. One of the funnest things I did when I decided at 70 that I was going to run, had never done that before, is that I used an app that tracked my running. First 2 miles. First, I could never even run to the end of the block. And then I did that, and then I did a mile, then 2 miles, then 5 miles. I went for a 10K, that's 6.5. I went for a half a marathon, and then I messed up my knee. So I'm not running now, but I'm cycling. All of those measurements, all of that tracking of progress made the game, well, made the movement a game. And making that a game can remind you, even with the tiniest bit of forward movement, that you're in the right direction. Be patient and consistent. Real change takes time. Consistency is the key, even if the progress seems slow. And then finally, by taking these steps, you can create a more balanced and effective approach to overcoming stagnation in your health, your wellness, and your emotional life. I hope that was helpful. I think that's that. Again, I'm Nan Simonson. I wrote Aging Powerfully. The point is that at any age, if we make enough of the right decisions, and in the case of my book, I talk about lifestyle as medicine, and the decisions I refer to are basically what we've been talking about here and more, and that is making decisions about the way we live our lives that can give us decades and decades of happiness and good life. I think that's it. Thank you for joining me today. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all those things they tell you matter, because they kind of do. It makes us easier to be found. And I hope to see you another time. Have a great day. I know I will. Bye-bye.